So I was lucky enough to be invited to Samsung KX ahead of the launch of the new Galaxy S23s. So I thought I'd make this video for you to get a closer look at the new colors of the Galaxies. So let's put these under a microscope and get a close up and personal look at all of the fine details and design upgrades that Samsung have made, so that by the end of this video, you'll be able to pick the perfect hue for you. And do let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. So let's start with the green and do a cheeky side-by-side comparison with the green from last year. This is my Galaxy S22 Ultra, and as you can see, the color is quite different now on the S23. It's slightly lighter with a bit more yellow in the mix, giving it this kind of misty green look, as opposed to the more sort of aqua green look that we had last year. As all of the leaksters predicted, yes, you can see there is a difference in the size of the lenses. They are larger now in diameter. Bigger optics equals better light gathering. Also, it does seem like the lenses don't protrude as far this year, but I didn't have a caliper or anything to measure it. We're talking about probably 0.5 millimeter, or maybe I'm just imagining it. Let me know what you think. So the larger lenses is a physical upgrade to the camera system, but there's so much more going on behind the scenes when it comes to the NPU, the upgraded Qualcomm ISP, and loads of other stuff. And I did take a photo here on the S22 Ultra and the same photo on the S23 Ultra. Do keep in mind though, the camera software on the S23 is pre-launch software, so there's a lot of room for improvement on the S23, whereas the S22 might have kind of hit its peak by now. And here's an ultra wide shot. And here's my ugly mug shot. I think I've got to go on a diet and maybe start running again. Anyway, here's another camera shot. This isn't actually my eyes. This was taken with the telephoto. Shout out to Alex from the Samsung training team for this one. So this is the difference now with the image processing. You can see how much more detail the phone is able to capture with the telephotos compared to last year's model. It is certainly an eye-opening improvement. And stay tuned for a proper camera comparison with the S23 coming soon. Anyway, the side button placements are slightly adjusted. So if you have smaller hands, you'll be able to reach the power button and the volume rocker more easily now. For me, the tip of my thumb rests quite nicely on the power button now. And then if I rest my thumb flat on the side of the phone, it sits comfortably on the volume rocker, more so than before. It's a slight improvement, but an improvement nonetheless. Now, this is something I didn't see coming. The curved screen is less curved now, which is a welcomed upgrade in my opinion. It wasn't bad on the S22 Ultra, but I must admit, in the last year, on some occasions, I did manage to lock the screen up by tapping the edge of the screen too much, and then I'd have to slide to unlock it, and it was quite annoying, but it didn't happen that much. So this improvement may reduce the amount of accidental touches on the edge. And also, less curvature on the display may help people jump off the Apple cart with their flat screen phones and actually try out an alternative, because maybe it'll be less of a learning curve. See what I did there? Learning curve, curved display, get it? Bad joke. So the stylus design is pretty much identical to the S22 Ultra, with the matching color on the button, but everything else black. That's the same on all of the devices. The speakers are more or less in the same place. SIM trays also in the same place. Mics have been slightly adjusted. The punch hole cutout for the selfie camera is exactly the same in size, although the camera itself on the S22 Ultra was 40 megapixels. Now it's 12 megapixels, but don't get it twisted, that does not mean it's not better. It's the quality of the sensor that really counts. And we will see how good it is in future videos. Apparently night shooting is improved significantly, also the portrait mode. And I did notice the antenna placements have also shifted. This could mean there's an improvement when it comes to 5G signal pickup, maybe even improvements when it comes to Wi-Fi 6E, just general improvements across the board based off the new layout of antennas. And on the new green variant, the Armor aluminium frame matches the color of the back as we would expect, although it is slightly glossy, which raises the question about fingerprints. And I will do a side-by-side fingerprint test on all 4 of these phones at the end of the video, so stick around. And here's a quick look at the camera module on the S23 Plus edition. It's got the floating lens design that was exclusive to the S22 Ultra last year. That little piece that used to be around the lenses, I found out what the official name for that is. It's called the Contour Cut camera module. No more contour cut here though. Although you won't be able to see it in this video, there has been some improvements to the display. The display is now a LTPO 3.0 screen, so the adaptive refresh rate is now improved. Not much is said about this, But also there's been improvements to the general color gamut performance. This could be down to the improvements with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and its GPU. Also, there's been improvements when it comes to eye comfort on the display. Again, you're not really going to notice the difference in this video between the S22 Ultra and the S23. Maybe when I get the phone, I'll do a proper display side-by-side comparison video. Let me know if you want to see that. Okay, now let's look at the Lavender, which is a light purple color, almost pink. It's kind of like a pastel purple, which gives it a delicate look. The light rolls off the back of it without causing harsh glares. It's just nice and gentle. It's subtle, it's elegant, it's classy. All of those are words that have never been used to describe me. But the Lavender Galaxy S23 is all of that. The buttons and bezels are slightly glossy. The Lavender armor aluminum frame is polished just like the other one, and it accents the top and bottom of the screen on the front side, which adds a nice effect. This isn't that noticeable with the other color variants, so that kind of makes it stand out a little bit. I like the Lavender color, but it isn't my favorite, and I shall explain, so stick around. But for now, let's move on to the only phone with an adjective ahead of the color name, the word phantom. And the definition of the word phantom, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a ghost. And ghosts are white, and black is actually not a color. So maybe the word phantom represents the lack of color, like color has kind of left this body, like a ghost would. Okay, I'm looking way too deep into this. It's just a really nice black, and there is a slight chance that maybe Samsung has been inspired by MKBHD's car. A small chance. Anyway, I will say this does not look like your regular boring black phone. It's a matte black with a really nice satin finish, which gives it a nice soft touch but a fierce look. When the light hits the back, you get these kind of orbs of grey, which I personally find really pleasing and much better than your average black phone. And check this out, random fact. Did you know that 12 of the components inside the S23 devices are manufactured using recycled materials? You would never think it just to look at this thing because it looks so premium and expensive. And yes it is. But I do think it's worth it, and I will be selling the shirt off my back. To buy one, eBay link in the description below. Okay, I've saved this one to last. It is the beige model, but it does kind of look more white than beige. This is the S23 color that I feel the most drawn to this year. Last year it was the green. I kind of liked the more bluish tint that it had. But what I found out through the year is that I ended up rocking a few different dark colored cases with the green phone, which didn't really change the look all that much. But at the beginning of this year, I decided that out of all the cases I used, I liked the light gray leather official Samsung case the most. Yes, it is beaten up now, and it has seen better days, just like me. But what I'm getting at here is I like the contrasting light and dark, and there is a good chance that once I can finally afford to buy a new shirt, I will pick up one of these and possibly a dark colored case, knowing that if I want to switch it up at any point, I can take the case off and rock this beautiful white beige color. And yes, you could do the same thing with pretty much any of the S23 models. I do realize that, but in my opinion, this one looks the best naked. And on that note, let's wrap this up. And if you've been waiting and wondering which one of the phones stores the most amount of biometric fingerprint data on the back of the device, here's the fingerprint test. Okay, if you want to learn what your Samsung phone can now do with the One UI 5 update, there's a thumbnail on screen right now that will talk you through all of that. And don't forget to subscribe and join me for future new tips and tricks on how to conquer your Samsung Galaxy. See you in the next one. Don't be late.